It's a great pleasure to welcome a dynamic and inspiring leader in the world of education and professional development, Mrs. Srividhya Rajaram, the country head of HOCK International India with over 25 years of experience. She has empowered thousands of leaders and professionals with her expertise, leadership, and passion for growth. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today, and we are truly privileged to have you with us.
Thank
Welcome,
you
ma'am.
for having me. Yeah.
And the next we have Mr. Ronak Baheti. It's a privilege to welcome a distinguished leader in this field of finance and education, Mr. Ronak Baheti, Business Relationship Director, India at HOCK International, a certified management accountant with nearly 2 decades of experience. He is known for his strategic vision, expertise in financial planning, and passion for empowering learners through innovative solutions. We are honored to have you share his insights. Thank you so much for joining us today. First question to Srividhya ma'am. Why do students have to opt for HOCK-approved course providers to learn the CMA USA?
See, this is a very a simple question, right? So whenever we want to associate ourselves with some brand, we want to be associated directly with the brand, right? We want to be associated with partners who are approved by that brand. And we do not engage with any company or any institution which is not approved. So when any of the students are joining for their studies, if they are entrusting their learning to somebody like an institution, like Elance, who is an approved partner of IMA, who is an approved partner of HOCK International. Why? Because that increases the credibility that you are teaching the right thing. Now, when you are an approved partner of HOCK International, what you get the updated study material. You get the insights about what is going to be the trend in the next exam slot. You will be always getting the content which is very reliable. So you need not go here and there for any other content. So this is already full and complete package that you have. So as a student, when you have connected with a training partner like Elance, who is an approved partner of HOCK International, you get the right content, right material for your preparation, right training that you can trust. Like, you know you're going to give the exam, you're going to pass the exam, not just passing, you actually learn it. It's a life skill. Tomorrow you're going to the corporate world to work. So you know how you have to apply what you're learning. So that is the benefit of taking up your training with the approved approved training partner who is a partner of HOCK International.
Sir, what's one thing you wish every CMA student knew about HOCK's approach to education?
It's very simple. Brian Hawk, our founder and CEO, he's a teacher by heart. So for him, it has always been that the value that a student gets when they use HOCK material should be more in terms of the quality, in terms of the support that we provide. So even if you look at the content of HOCK, it is very comprehensive. The idea behind that from Brian is that I asked him that why, Brian, people say that the HOCK content is very comprehensive. It may get overwhelming at times. The simple answer that he gave was that our content is so comprehensive and so basic and so easy to understand because anybody who's not coming from the specific field, who's not a master of that field, he can start from the topic on any topic from the very basic, and then they can move ahead with the difficult part of the topics. Say, for example, you are very good with financial reporting, right? So you need not start from the first chapter. You can directly start from the MCQ. But when somebody who's not from that, somebody's from taxation, they are not really convenient or really comfortable with the financial reporting, they can start from the very basic. So the idea was that, which is why I believe that most of our students who are using the material from HOCK, they have really good pass percentage and they really like, and more students continue joining and using our material to prepare for the US CMA exam.
And next question is for ma'am. What's the most common mistakes students make during CMA preparation and how can they avoid them?
As a person who is interacting with a lot of students and trainers, what I can say is probably sometimes the students have this overconfidence. Yes, I have gone through it. I'm done. I will see to it. Let me face it. So I think that kind of a little bit of overconfidence students have. There are a list of 5-6 things that are common mistakes, but I think overconfidence in case study questions also, because that is mostly the scenario based questions. So as a student, you have not seen that scenario. What you can imagine out of that case study and what you can make out and what you can think of, like this could be the response, that could be the response. I'll do this if I am the manager of this company. It's all imaginations. So here again, like you don't have that exposure. You may think like you understood, but probably you have not understood. That is one thing, like, okay, it's not an objective paper, so it must be easy. I'll write something in case study. I'll get through that. So that is again a kind of a overconfidence that students might have. Another thing that I feel students take it for granted is the time management. See, when you are practicing today at home, maybe you're practicing 30-40 questions every day. You may take sometimes 30 minutes for 30 questions, sometimes you may take even 3 hours. There is no time limit when you're practicing at home. But during the real exam, it's only 3 hours for 100 multiple choice questions, right? There you need a time management. So how many times are you simulating yourself at home or at the classroom for real type exam scenarios, like really sitting for 3 hours and giving 100 questions without talking to your friends, without touching your phone or having other distractions? So that matters a lot, because that saves a lot of time, that brings in focus. So people feel like, okay, I have 3 hours for 100 questions. That's actually not the case. The 3 hours flies like this. So the more and more you have those practice questions, practice lots in your classrooms, that will help you. Another thing is the mock exams. We see a lot of students who are taking the mock exams like a practice question. I feel like that is a huge mistake that students can make, because mock exams has to be taken like a real exam. In HOCK LMS, all the questions in the mock exams are absolutely new questions that you have not seen. So out of those 2000 plus questions in the part 1 or part 2 that you have already practiced, those questions are not coming in your mock, which means that's like a real exam scenario. If you're going to practice mock questions every day, you already know what's the answer. So there is no thrill of unpredictability there, right? You go to an examination, you think like, oh, I don't know any question. I have not heard or seen those questions. So you have that thrill of what is the next question going to be. But if you practice mock questions daily, then that will be a disaster. These are some of the common mistakes that students do, and being aware of these mistakes, because right now I think this is a great initiative that you people have taken to do this expert talk and asking these questions. So I hope some students somewhere will get benefited by knowing that these are the things that they should not do.
Is there a set order for completing Group 1 and Group 2, or can students opt to take Group 1 first? What's the preferred method?
Thank you for the question. As far as I know, there's no set preferred method that you have to take part 1 first or part 2 or vice versa. But I think part 1 would be a good choice to do, because if you look at the overall content for part 1 and part 2, part 2 is little smaller overall the content wise, and part 1 is more elaborative. So if I were you, I'll see that, okay, let me go for the bigger part and get through with it so that I am relaxed, that I am clear with the biggest chunk of the examination pattern that I had to write, the part. And then the smaller part, I'll be more relaxed and I can prepare myself better and clear it because I've already done, I've faced the worst or the most difficult part amongst the parts. So I think part one you can definitely take, and because you'll have ample preparation time for part one, write part one, get the marks, clear it, and then part two you will be knowing it's little smaller in size, so it would be easy for you to prepare and clear the examination.
How has the CMA exam evolved over the years, and what trends should current candidates anticipate? This is also a personal question, ma'am.
That is a more than 100 plus years of evolution that US CMA has gone through. And if we look at the earlier US CMA's methodology was mostly into the memorization. It was not into the application oriented. But today, what you are actually learning is that which you can use in your organization when you join your company. That's more application oriented. Why it is application oriented? Because you are learning case studies. So you are learning scenarios, you are learning problems, and you are trying to put your decision making and solve the problem. So that is why it is more different now and it's more relevant now. Additionally, things that I would say is in 2020, IMA added technology as part of one of the core areas. So today, the integration of be it technology or data analytics is very, very important. If you are getting into a job market without this knowledge, then that is not relevant. We want you to be in demand when you are in the job. So that is why whatever is the updated and relevant content that is required, which is practical, application oriented, and gives you a role in which you can actually perform. You can actually use your analytical skills and strategical skills that you're learning in US CMA in real life also. I have studied a lot in my graduation, which was in 1995-98. But am I using those today? No, because it's no more relevant. But in the CMA, you have something called the continuous professional education. Right? After you clear your part 1 and part 2, you're not done. You have to go through the continuous professional education, 30 credits per year. What does that mean for you? You will be studying something more every year, which is relevant to the world. So you can keep your job, you can excel in your job, and you can grow in your career. That is what it means. When it comes to ethics, it is something non-negotiable in your US CMA. So that is also part of, you have a subject, right? Professional ethics.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is non-negotiable. When you are giving an exam and there are questions about professional ethics and you thought, okay, the CMA program only has 10% weightage for professional ethics, I will study this one day before the exam. It is not going to help. I'm telling you, because if somebody is not able to make a clear judgment in ethical issues, they would not be able to pass US CMA, although it is just 10%. So the weightage could be 10, but the value it is creating for your certification is very, very high. So do not take that lightly. Ethics is an important, knowledge, and you have to handle that. Like when you read a question about ethics, you should know, how should I respond? How should I take a decision on this particular issue? Is it ethical, unethical? So those things you will be learning. Now, I already talked about the essay questions because it gives you the scenarios. That is very relevant. As a student, you cannot visualize actual problems. We are working, so we know there are different problems in our work. Different problems coming from different departments. So we handle that. For you, that is not possible right now. So essay questions help you a lot in that case. And if I talk about IMA, so I hope you are aware that IMA updates the study material every 3-4 years. Last update was in 2024 September. Before that, it was in 2020. So you're already studying a relevant material. You're always staying relevant. You will be doing your CPE. There is no compromise in that. That is non-negotiable. So that is what makes the US CMA totally different from the old US CMA or any CMA for that matter. The program has evolved so much and it is continuously evolving. There is no end to that. I hope this answers your question, because when we talk about evolution, it's about relevance.
How important is practical training for CMA students stepping into the industry?
Practical training for CMA students. So first and foremost, it is really important as to what you have learned. It's all theory, right? Unless you apply that theory in the real world scenario, you will not be able to connect, right? Because there's a lot of difference. Even when I studied the CMA, I knew that I know everything. But when you go on a job, each organization has different ways of working, different tools, right? So, and not everything that you have learned, you would be using in the job. Each role or each organization would ask you for different skill set that you have learned in the qualification. So the qualification would definitely enable you 100% to be prepared for all kind of job roles. However, each job role would differ. So you should always have an open mind, a learning mind, open to learning, so that tomorrow when you go to the organization, you are open to learn the new tools that comes across for each organization. Then you're open to take feedback, how to improve yourself, upgrade yourself continuously. So all of these things would happen only when you have those practical trainings. So internship opportunity is very important if you get that. And a lot of these organizations such as HPE, they also offer internship program to US CMA candidates. And once they like you, they give you a proper full-time job as well after you have cleared your CMA exams. And as you must be aware that you need 2 years of practical experience in order to become a member. So that would really help. So that period, that experience that you have would also count. So my advice would be that please try to get as much practical training that you can get along with the studies that you're doing. It could be at your uncle's office, or it could be at a proper corporate if the time gives you that kind of opportunity and you have that bandwidth. Please do that, because whatever you'll learn practically would also help you once you get into a proper job. And the company would not have to spend much time to train you. That is something which is really important, that you would not be seen as a cost. You'll start delivering, so you'll see as a revenue center, right? A revenue driven person. So that is something I would recommend to all the students. Please go ahead with the practical trainings. It's really important to apply. And please network on LinkedIn and outside as well to get those kind of roles that you look forward to.
What skills or knowledge from the CMA curriculum do employers value most in today's job market?
See, one of the things is whatever you are studying in the US CMA, the part 1 and part 2, there are 6 plus 6, 12 core areas, right? All the core areas are relevant in the job market, in your employment. You cannot compromise any of the core areas. Is it possible that you are good in financial planning and analysis, but you are not good in decision making? Is it possible that you are good in something and you are not good in, maybe ethics? So whatever the 12 core areas which IMA has curated for the US CMA program in part 1 and part 2, all the 12 core areas is equally important. If you look at what is the employer looking beyond this, that is the same thing that we both are repeating, the application of it. You might have passed US CMA with 480 out of 500. But what is more important is how quickly you are able to find the insights, find the story from the numbers, how you are communicating the insights to your senior management, how you are taking or making decisions or helping your senior management to make those decisions. If I know that there is a problem coming in, but I do not tell my seniors at work, I keep it to myself. I have facts, right? I have data, I have facts why this problem is going to happen. But if I do not communicate at the right time, what will happen? It is of no use, right? So you have to take action at the right time and use your knowledge, use your skills for making those decisions. Everything comes down to decision making. If I have to take a decision, I have to have very in-depth knowledge about something that I'm studying. If my knowledge level is not having in-depth or clarity, I will not be able to make decisions. So, one, yes, you have studied all the 12 core areas, but what is most important is, are you able to join the dots? How financial planning and analysis is connected with performance management, how performance management is connected with critical thinking, how critical thinking is connected with decision making. So everything you have to visualize to connect the dots and make a decision. So every core area, every skill is important. At work, they would be expecting interpersonal skills, they would be expecting good communication skills. Even presence of mind and common sense is very, very basic today.
What's the most demanding additional hard skill?
See, I think Excel is the mother of all these, the tools that you are there. So you have to be good at Excel. Apart from that, like I said, each organization has different ways of working. So Excel would be common in all of the organizations that you work in. Now, if a company is working on Power BI, they would definitely expect that you are aware of the tool. You may not be the master. The training would be provided to you. But it could be that you learn the tool, right? But unless you practice on real data, real stuff, you would not be able to do. So given an opportunity, you can definitely learn, but make sure that your Excel is core. Have a very good hand holding on the Excel, on how to do the financial modeling and all the shortcuts, etc. is what is expected from you. That is why you should be really good. Other tools, you should be aware what is for what. After you join any organization, they'll definitely train you for that. So don't worry too much on that front, is what my suggestion would be. With the questions, which is very common question, what students ask. So we can have something like this answer, and then you can use that in your clip. Whatever it is, we are more than happy to support Elance.
Thank you so much, ma'am and sir, for your time and encouragement today. It's been an incredibly valuable session for me and for all CMA aspirants.
We truly love the session with you for Elance, and we will have more conversations like this.
Hi to everybody and hi to Mr. Mamuti as well.
Okay.